If you only ever watch one video about trading, it needs to be this video because I'm going to give you some brutally honest truth. I'm going to basically cut through a lot of the bullshit that you see on YouTube regarding how to trade stocks, futures, options. Today, I wanted to talk to you about stop loss because so many of these fake trading gurus on YouTube and TikTok, especially the ones that promote day trading, you're scalping futures and Forex and things like that. It's all about, hey, let's go set a stop loss order, right? We set a take profit order somewhere and we set a stop loss order somewhere. A stop loss is essentially just a market order. So for example, let's say you're trying to scalp futures, right? And you buy a ES future. Well, you'll set a market order somewhere below where you bought that future. And if ES drops to where that market order is sitting, that closing order will be triggered and you will exit out of that position. It's basically the maximum you want to lose on that position. That is what is called a stop loss order. And most people assume that that's what stop losses are. They're just these market orders sitting somewhere above or below, whatever it is you're trading. But I think of stop losses in a much more general sense. I think anything that you can identify as something that costs you money, and if you can eliminate that from your trading, that's a stop loss. For example, I think identifying strategies that absolutely do not work, don't work because you've tried them. It's obvious that some of these trading strategies, some of these people promoting on YouTube, they're all bullshit. You've tried it. It doesn't work. Eliminate that crap from your trading, right? That's a stop loss. As a matter of fact, I think that is the ultimate stop loss everyone should be using. How many of you guys watching this video right now have bought into some of the bullshit from the fake trading gurus that are trying to teach you how to scalp futures, maybe sign up through some of these prop trading firms, and you base everything off of technical analysis. You draw chart patterns, you draw these lines on the chart, and wherever you happen to draw these magical lines on the chart, that tells you whether you need to get long or get short that particular future or that particular stock or whatever it is you're trading, a Forex pair, whatever it happens to be. And that's bullshit. I'm just watching these guys with some common sense. What they're saying, this magical chart pattern thing, they're drawing patterns on a chart like an 8-year-old, scribbles in a coloring book, right? But somehow that has some predictive power. Now, again, logically, rationally, reasonably, that's all bullshit, but you try it anyway. Okay, so you try it and you've got real world experience. Maybe you take a few hundred or even a few thousand trades based on all of this technical analysis bullshit you learned from your fake trading guru. And, now that you've got several hundred or in some cases several thousands of these trades under your belt, how are things working out? Are you a profitable trader? I would say probably not, right? Probably the vast majority of you guys are not profitable trading off of that bullshit because, again, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You now have real world experience. You actually have proof it doesn't work. So why don't you employ that stop loss, right? Why don't you just quit doing this idiotic, insane crap that these guys are trying to teach you and actually learn how to trade in a much more responsible way? What I find very odd is I read these posts on the internet, on social media, sometimes on YouTube videos. Sometimes I see people make actual YouTube videos where they talk about their trading experience. Like, hey, I've been trying to make this day trading thing work for years, this prop firm trading thing work for years, literally years. And they, after several years, are still not a profitable trader. And they keep doing what they're doing, right? Again, you've got to employ that stop loss. At some point, here's the thing. There's this thing called the sunken cost fallacy or the sunk cost fallacy, where once you've devoted so much time and money to something, you don't want to quit it because you've already invested so much money. You feel like it's a complete waste of your money if you now stop what you're doing after putting in all that time and effort. And that's what a lot of people are doing with this whole day trading bullshit, right? They've already spent so much time and so much money on various courses, mastermind groups and things. And in some cases, you've spent years trying to make this thing work. You can't just quit it now. You've gone too far to quit. Well, no. You need to quit. It doesn't matter how much time, how much money you've put into something. Once you know it doesn't work, you have to employ that stop loss. And all you need to do is you just need to open your eyes and actually see the world in front of you. Go to online trading communities and especially talk to people that you know are long-term profitable traders, people that are experienced in trading and investing, or whatever it happens to be, and see what they're doing. Are any of them just basing everything they do off of chart patterns they draw on a screen? I promise you they're not. Also, most long-term profitable traders are not scalping futures. They damn sure aren't trading Forex. None of them, right? That's not what they do. But that's the dream that a lot of these fake trading gurus on YouTube are selling. Well, what are the really profitable traders and investors doing? Well, long-term passive investors, they're usually just buying shares of various market funds and ETFs and just sit on it for decades. You know, that's certainly a viable strategy for those that want to actively trade something. Options are typically what they're doing, and specifically they're selling options. And if you want to learn more about options trading, I actually wrote a book called The Super Wheel Option Strategy. It's about my favorite option strategy, which is the wheel option strategy. But that book is designed for somebody brand new to options. I cover all of the basics, all of about the Greeks such as delta and theta and vega. I talk about probabilities and things like that, and they're in real simple terms, layman's terms. There's no complicated mathematics, no calculus formulas or anything that you have to, try to work out yourself. And options don't really require any technical analysis or fundamental analysis for you to understand how to be profitable trading options. For example, I know when I buy an option, I want the volatility of the underlying stock to go up in order for me to be profitable. I know when I sell an option, I want the volatility of the underlying stock to go down for me to be profitable. I know when I buy an option, I don't want time to pass, right? I know when I sell an option, I do want time to pass. I mean, these are just hard and set fast rules. This is how the option game is played. And when you know how options work, it's very easy to actually be a profitable options trader, because for example, as an option seller primarily, I want to sell options when the implied volatility of the stock is very high. I also know that I want to sell options that have a high probability of profit. I typically want to win, say, 80 to 90% of my trades. I have a certain amount of premium I want to receive for selling that option. This may sound like all, like ancient Greek, like, hey, what is he even talking about? Probability and implied volatility and all of this. I promise you, just check out my book. This is a very easy read. It's about 200 pages. And again, it's not terribly technical. Also, check out the DT Options Discord server. I actually have a Discord server where I hold a live voice chat there the first half hour or so of every trading day. You guys get to see me buy and sell options, manage my positions, right? We have a nice little trading community. You get to see all of my opening and closing trades, and you get to, I get to share with you guys some of my experience. And this is not hard, right? This is not complicated, and there is nothing. There's no bullshit involved, right? We're not sitting around drawing imaginary patterns on a chart. We just see cold, hard numbers on a screen where, hey, the implied volatility is this, the premium is this, the buying power reduction is this. And if the numbers make sense, you take the trade. If the numbers don't make sense, you don't take the trade. And there's no astrology. There's nothing, mystical about any of this. It's all like seriously a child to trade options and be profitable. So don't be trapped by the sunk cost fallacy. If you're one of these people that have been trying to make the whole day trading scam work, you're never going to make it work, right? And I think by now most of you guys know that it's just it's a human emotion. It's pride. It's also, we don't want to admit that we were ever scammed or manipulated. We never want to admit that we got played. But at some point, you have to admit that the thing you're doing right now doesn't work. And please, go ahead, make sure that stop loss gets triggered today. Stop doing what you're doing and go ahead and jump into the options trading pool. I promise you, the water's just fine. Peace, guys.